Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited. You can ask anybody on my team. I love talking about our new hire training program. As Eli said, I'm Lindsay Morga. I've been at Tanium for about 3.5 years now. So if I put that in context, when I arrived at Tanium, we were about 500 people total. Since I've been here, we've grown to over 1,600 people. And so that consists of, at least on the sales org side, we are at about 270 on the sales team specifically. We are growing our partner team as well. So we're at about 40 there. And really just recently, we've pulled over our customer success team. And so that's about 70 people and growing. So that said, I can say I've seen some changes in Tanium over my time there, but I also can say that I've not seen as many changes as I have seen in this past year. I want to tell everybody a little story. Back in March, if everybody remembers March, yes, it feels like just yesterday, but it also feels like it was decades ago. We were in Nashville. We were at our sales kickoff in Nashville. But at the same time, the new hire team was planning for our on-site new hire training that very next week. So during the week, early March, our chief learning officer pulled us aside and said, "Hey, this is not public knowledge yet, but nobody's going to be traveling. So we're not going out to headquarters next week." Like, okay, that's great. And then his next sentence was, "How quickly can we do new hire virtual?" After I took my 5 calming breaths and my head stopped spinning, I said, "Okay, give me a week." And he agreed. And I have to say, we took a week, we planned, the team put the plan together, and it was an extremely successful virtual new hire training. So one of our reps in that class made this statement in our survey. She said that for Tanium's first ever virtual new hire training, I was blown away with how effective it was for me personally. And that, to the team, said a lot. So that got me thinking, what has made our program so successful? So our new hire team, we have a mission. We want to be the best in class. We want to bring in our new hires, make them feel part of the team, understand the Tanium culture, also understand Tanium's mission and Tanium's values. So what we do for the team is we want to make everybody who goes through that process Audible ready. And it doesn't matter who that is. We want everybody to be able to answer the question, what is Tanium? No matter their role. And we put all of our roles through the new hire training program. And that takes a lot of collaboration and sharing of feedback. But we want everybody to be comfortable collaborating and sharing their feedback. So what that means is that we need to create that connection. Everybody who comes through it, we want to create that connection. And so before we went virtual, it was pretty easy. We were in person. We saw how everybody started bonding in their cohort. We want them to feel part of the culture. And how do we do that? The best way to do that is to get our executive sponsorship. We also get our executive involvement. So we spend an entire day where our execs come in. They welcome the new hires into the program, to the team. They share their vision for their team and how they fit into Tanium's strategy. So these are the basics of our program. And this is historically what has made this program so successful, in my opinion. So let's talk a little bit about the new hire program. It's a 4-week program. This is a really broad overview of it. And I want to step through the first 2 weeks. We don't get to that new hire week until week 3. So the first 3 weeks, we are involved with our new hires. We have 18 hours of pre-work, self-paced e-learning. Now that's our scenario-based training, which was put together by Lindsay Shufia and team. She's on this call here, helped by Don Kildebeck, who's our content developer. He's this amazing creative genius working behind the scenes. But we also bring in videos from the field so that our new hires feel connected. They understand, they get those stories from the field, which are extremely important. Also brought in some fireside chats. Some of our senior advisors have had chats with our CEO, our CFO. We've chopped them up and we've put them into Saleshood as well. But we don't leave them to themselves during this self-paced training. We connect with our new hires throughout those first 2 weeks. There's about 10 hours of live calls where they get to meet the team, the new hire training team. We bring them back to those key concepts that we want to make sure that they understand when they move into that new hire training week. And finally, we get together with them on these weekly connects where we have very specific topics where we bring them back to, we discuss with the team, we make sure that the new hire team understands their challenges and also what successes they're seeing in these first 2 weeks. So really important, has always been really important to us to connect with our new hires. So then we move into our week 3. That's our new hire training week. Before March, that was in person, that was at headquarters. After March, that was virtual. But it's this cultural immersion, really, where we bring in these subject matter experts to have those deeper discussions, these interactive engagements with our new hires, meet some reps in the field, get together, allow them to practice their pitch. And at the end of that week 3, they get to do a role play with one of our sales leaders. And honestly, they're so nervous. It's interesting to see they're so nervous going into this role play. But at the end of it, they're just so happy they got that connection with one of our RVPs and got some feedback from the field so they really know what they're getting into. So we don't send them off from new hire training. Week 4 is us bringing in those support teams, introducing the new hires to who they need to know to really accelerate and work through the processes that's going to get them to those closed deals. So that's the 4-week program overall. So when we were shifting to this virtual program, we understood, well, actually, before I get to that, I want to show you, I wasn't kidding when I said we do 18 hours in Saleshood. So I wanted to kind of show you what that looks like. And I really think that our pre-work, our learning paths in Saleshood tell a really good story for our new hires. Week 1, know your company, understand the message. Week 2, better understand the product, start getting into our value selling, which is our new sales methodology, go through that scenario-based training. We also use this as a repository for our live calls. We record them all. We put them into Saleshood so they can catch up on them and always go back to some of those live discussions. And then we document and add into our Saleshood path the virtual new hire training week. Homework almost every night. They get in, they practice their pitch, they get feedback, they iterate, they do it again. And gosh, there's a story from one of our new hires in this past month, one of our marketing new hires, where she went in to do her second piece of homework. She was kind of dreading it. It took her about 20 tries to get the first one in. And she came back the next day. She said, you know what? It took me 5 minutes. I realized I know this stuff and I'm really comfortable with it. So that iterative process is really important to our new hires, important to us on the new hire training team. So when we were shifting to virtual, we realized that we had some challenges, in that 1 week before we went to that virtual new hire training. First thing, geographic diversity. We were pulling our new hires from across the globe, bringing them to headquarters. But we ran into some issues where differing time zones, differing cultures, how are we going to make this an effective virtual training? So we decided we needed to split and run a couple simultaneously. And we were able to do that. We also took a look at the technology that we use. We use Zoom traditionally as our virtual format, and we weren't using the tools to their full potential. So I'll talk a little bit afterward about how we shifted and started to use some of those features in Zoom that helped us have a really effective virtual new hire training. And then also, how do we create that attention, keep their attention and create that engagement with our new hires? It was extremely important to us. And a lot of that goes back to using that technology to its full potential. ultimately, we felt that what we needed to focus on was creating that connection, allowing our new hires to come in, feel connected, feel like they were part of a team, even though they were in this remote environment. So what did we change? We took a look, again, like I said, we looked at the tools. We started using breakout rooms. We used breakout rooms within those first 2 weeks now. We looked at the schedule as well. We stretched some of our new hire week so they weren't sitting in front of a camera for 8 hours a day. We expanded the breaks that they take. You know, we probably have 6 hours max of content during these days, and sometimes not even that. Hour-long breaks, get them up, outside, away from the computer. And we were able to do that by stretching some of the content, pulling some of that content into the pre-weeks themselves. Really effective. They really appreciate the time to actually just step away from the computer. And it also helps them digest the information, you know, take away a lot more from the discussions that they're having. Like I said, expanded those breaks, let them get away from that computer, and then finally really focused on some of the facilitators. So the guest speakers that came in, we were able to turn around, talk to them, let them know how they could best use the tools that we have, encourage them to get that engagement, give them tips and tricks how to get more engagement and attention from the folks on the call as well. So really simple changes they seem like, but put together, like I said, we think that we put together a really successful virtual training. So I was talking in the breakout room that we had in the beginning of this event. You know, there are a lot of benefits of shifting to this virtual new hire training. And we believe at Tanium that it's going to maintain, we're going to maintain a virtual new hire training moving forward. You know, I'm honest, there's really nothing better than being there in person and connecting with them. But honestly, I mean, there's more time at home. Our new hires are really appreciative of the time at home. I'll tell a story. You know, a couple months ago, one of our new hires mentioned, you know, they came back from a lunch break. He said, "Hey, what did everybody do? What did you have for lunch?" And he spoke up. He said, "You know what? I had lunch with my wife." You know, if he hadn't been in that setting, he wouldn't have been able to have lunch with his wife. I'll be honest, most of my new hire trainees, they know my daughter. She loves to be on camera. She comes bouncing in the back of the room, and it's great. Everybody connects better that way. We've also been able to expand our pool of presenters. So instead of having to fly presenters out to headquarters in California, we can reach out to almost anybody who is available at the time. We've ended up bringing in multiple field reps to have an Ask Me Anything. So they're all on this call at the same time. It's also allowed us to really focus on various role-based paths in our new hire training as well. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. So we've always focused on our account managers, what we call our directors of strategic accounts. We've broadened that focus to our partner account managers. We were able to see what breakout sessions they needed and then run those sessions simultaneous at the same time. And as we've created new role paths for our sales leadership as well. They don't need the exact training that our account managers need. We were able to bring in some additional content for them to really focus on the strategy side of the business that they need to be involved in. But even beyond those roles, we've grown our sales development team. Our customer success team is now over under sales, and we were able to focus on their role. And I have the sales engineer here highlighted in red because that is new. We're developing that right now, but it gives us the opportunity to really focus on these specific role-based trainings. All right, so where are we going from here? Where have we been over the past 8 or 9 months? We have created or presented 12 virtual new hire trainings, trained 112 people total. And we ask a very specific question in our final survey. Was this training applicable to you and to your role? Was it effective? And astoundingly, out of a 1 to 5, we've consistently gotten a 4.7 on average. What we are looking for, and the jury's not in yet, we are looking for better retention rate on our sales team, as well as decreasing that time to their first deal. So where are we going in the future? Erin mentioned it earlier on this call. We are growing. We are going to see this hiring surge. So we are really focusing on what is that effective number in our virtual new hire training. And if that means that we need to split those trainings, run some simultaneously, we can do that because we're in this virtual, this remote world now. So really looking forward to where we're going. Lots of potential. We change things every month in general. So stay tuned for what we do in the future.